Hello and welcome to video number 5. This is about hyperlinks. First things first, you need to be opening up Microsoft Word, whether you are using a Mac or PC. As I stated earlier, this is part of our strategy and this is what works for us in relation to the PDF conversion softwares that we have tested. So go ahead and open up Microsoft Word if you can and follow along if you would like to, or feel free to watch to the end of this video and follow along later. Now, in order to create a hyperlink, what you need to do is you need to highlight the word or words. So if you want to hyperlink the word high domain, you just highlight that. Or let's say, for example, we're going to say click here to learn more about this product. We could highlight that. We can right click it, click on hyperlink. And then, of course, you want to enter the URL right here. Now, Microsoft Word is going to give you different options. You can hyperlink to an existing file or web page, hyperlink within the document itself. You can create a new document, or you can set up email addresses. Now, for the purpose of this particular video course, remember, our goal is to link to our website or the website that we are promoting. So all we want to do is make sure this one is selected and then enter the URL. So in this case, make sure that you have http://www.yourdomain.com, whatever that might be. Now, let's say, for example, we'll just do google.com for the sake of simplicity. And up here, you can target frame. Now, what this means is you have the ability to control the click. So if somebody opens up your PDF file, oftentimes, if you think about it, there are two different situations. Either the PDF file will be downloaded to their computer, and then they'll open it up via Adobe Acrobat Reader, or in a different situation, they will click the link and the PDF file will be opened up within their internet browser as a new tab. Now, if that is the case, if they click on the link, by default, the link will open to the web page in the same window as the PDF file. In this case, I will recommend that you choose the target frame to be a new window. And the reason being is because if they click that link and they are in an internet browser, for example, then a new window or a new tab will be opened up. So if they want to refer back to your PDF file, they can always do so. So I would say new window is the best. Now, as you can see, there are other options here: same frame, whole page, parent frame, and other advanced tactics here. But the one that primarily will probably do the best will be new window. Now, you will see an option that says set as default for all hyperlinks. Now, what that means is you're setting new window to all hyperlinks. So let's say, for example, that you have 30 hyperlinks that you created and you forgot to set it at new window, or you decide to switch it back to same frame. Instead of having to go one by one all the way through and changing the setting right here, all you have to do is set as default for all hyperlinks, click OK, OK, and you're good to go. And that's it. That's how easy it is to hyperlink a text. Now, if you want to hyperlink, let's say, for example, a shape, you can also do that as well. So if we go over here to insert and we click on shape, and let's say, for example, we have an arrow and we want to create an arrow like this, and we'll make this arrow red. And why don't we turn this arrow around, and let's point this arrow at this hyperlink. And let's say we want to hyperlink this arrow. Same thing. With a shape, all you have to do is select it, right click, hyperlink, and do the exact same thing. Now, you can do this exact same thing with other items as well. The only thing that you cannot do is, let's say, for example, that you wanted to hyperlink a section, but if you had a certain image or certain images clumped together and you wanted to hyperlink a whole section, you would have to have an advanced feature, which is a PDF conversion tool to do that, which would be part number 2. Now, part number 1 would allow us, utilizing WinZip, to convert these hyperlinks so that when it is converted to a PDF format, the hyperlinks still work. Now, you'll notice sometimes if you use free PDF conversion tools that when you do convert to a PDF file, the hyperlinks don't pass through. So the hyperlinks only work within Microsoft Word itself. So I'll see you in the next video, and we'll talk about everything you need to gather up until this point so that you can make sure that when you do the conversions, everything will work perfectly. All right, we'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 6, and in this particular video, what I want to do is just quickly run through and give you a quick recap as far as what you need to have up until this point. So number 1, you need to have your attack plan. Either you need to be selling your own product or somebody else's product and figuring that out, figuring out the angles which go into your content, and figure out your audience. And then you need to make sure you create your content, make sure that it is angled correctly, utilizing the different angles that I have given you, or you can go ahead and create your own angles, but I've given those to you that work. And then, of course, gather your landing page URLs, the actual URL. So you need to have those in hand before you can actually move on to the next step. If you don't have them and they're not live, but you know that they will work in the long run, that is fine as well. You also need to have kind of an idea of what your call to actions are going to be. And what we mean by call to actions is getting people to take action. The hyperlinks, the telling people exactly what they need to do, and how are you going to get people to take action. That's basically the call to actions. They can be images, they can be the arrows that I showed you in the previous video, and more on that. So those are definite things that you need to have in order to move forward. Now, the next 2 videos, part number 1 and part number 2, are going to help you convert the files to PDF format and ensure that all your hyperlinks work. Because one thing to note is that if you utilize free PDF conversion tools, they don't always convert, whereas the point that your hyperlinks work. So you have to be able to do part 1 or part 2 in order to get your hyperlinks to work. So part number 1, basically at this point, you need to have a complete, finalized Microsoft Word document containing your textual document content. And part number 1 is going to help you understand how to convert basic text hyperlinks into actual PDF files that have hyperlinks that work. Number 2 is going to help you. Let's say, for example, that you have created some sort of image, maybe an infographic, and out of that picture, you have a PDF file. Now, the bad side of most PDF conversion tools is that part number 1, for example, is not going to work for this. So if you have an infographic and within the image itself, you have images or text in the image itself that say something like, click here. You can't actually use Microsoft Word to select a specific area of your image and convert that into a hyperlink. Unfortunately, you will have to utilize part number 2. And if you go for part number 2, you can essentially achieve part number 1. Part number 1 is basically an option if you don't really want to achieve part number 2. But in my case, I recommend that you just go watch part number 1 to understand it, but get part number 2 software, because that will resolve everything in part number 1 and in part number 2. So with that said, let's move on to the next video, and I'm going to show you how to convert a basic Microsoft Word document with textual hyperlinks into a PDF file that works. All right, let's move on to the next video. Okay, so before we get started and we utilize the part 1 WinZip software to convert your documents into PDF files, I want to make a note here. Some of you will have Microsoft Word documents versions where if you convert it to PDF right away, the hyperlinks will work. But some of you will have outdated versions of Microsoft Word, or you're using something else like Pages or a different word processing system. And if you are, that's fine. Then you can utilize this specific strategy. But I wanted to make that note first that some of you, if you convert it to PDF and it works, great. You don't really need to go out and buy these softwares. But if you convert it to PDF and you're utilizing an outdated version of the software and you're having problems to get the hyperlinks to convert over to work in the PDF version, then this is the only time that you really will need the part 1. Now, the part 2, which deals with image PDFs, infographics, and things like that, you will need to have that piece of software. Okay? So, that note aside, what we can do is whether you're using Microsoft Word or Pages or OpenOffice, as long as you've hyperlinked it within here, all you need to do is go to winzip.com. That's WINZIP.com. Now, winzip.com, the nice thing about this is that you can do much more than just convert. You can add watermarks. So if you want to brand your file, you can do that. You can also automatically resize photos. So the nice thing about this is if you have a Microsoft Word document or a document in general that has these big, huge images, then you know your audience is not going to stay around and stick around to just download these big files. So what you can do with WinZip is you can automatically resize these big images. So it goes much further than just hyperlinks. And that's the reason why I wanted to show you this avenue. So as you can see here, WinZip 20, you can zip, unzip, you can convert to PDF, you can do all these other things. Now they have different versions. They have standard version and pro version. And you can see here, you can actually look here. As far as PDF goes, you can create read-only PDFs. So if you want people and to prevent them from copying your content, you can actually do this. So like I said earlier, you can save a regular Microsoft Word document as a PDF file just utilizing the Microsoft Word system. But what you can't do is you can't protect it. You can't password protect it. You can't make it read-only. You can't watermark it. You can't do all these other advanced features. Now, if you go to the site and click on compare, you can obviously see the difference between the standard version and the pro version. Now, if you scroll down here, you'll notice that the WinZip standard version does allow you to convert PDF files and do all these things right here. And this is really what you want. So you really don't necessarily need to have the pro version because that's what you really want to do is just the PDF conversion, right? So in this case, you would only dish out about $30. So $29.95, that's $30. You can get that. You don't really need the $50 version. So I wanted to offer this to you as a different avenue that you could take if you didn't want to dish out, $50. Now, would I recommend that you go this route if you want to do image PDFs and if you want to hyperlink your infographics and your things like that? No, I would not recommend that you go down this route. I would recommend that you do part number 2, and I'll show you why. But as far as this goes, this is pretty good for the price. So if you want to save $20, you want to go down this route, that's fine. So what I want to do right now is I open up WinZip and I have the pro version, but like you saw earlier, you don't really need the pro version. The only reason why I got the Pro version was because I wanted the other options that came along with WinZip. Now, as you can see here, what you can do is you can check convert to PDF. You can click on options. You can also click on PDF conversion options, and you can also change the resolution. So if you find that your Windows Microsoft Word document is very, very big and has these really massive images, you can always tone down the resolution and the image quality. You can convert to a read-only so that some people cannot copy your content, and you can do other things as well. So we can click on save here. You can also resize the photos if the photos are too big, and if you click on photo resize settings, you can scale them bigger or even smaller depending on what size it is. Because as you know, when you put an image inside of Microsoft Word, if they're really, really big and you convert it over, they're just going to convert over at that same size. So these are just some things to think about as far as user experience. You don't want them to get to a point where they're downloading this massive file, essentially. So when you're done and you have chosen your options that you want, all you need to do is simply find the Microsoft Word document, as you can see here, and we can simply drag and drop it right here. So what's this doing right now? It's just converting the file to a PDF file. So I'm going to pause this video and we'll see you when it is complete. So actually it just finished just right now, and you can see your files have been converted. It has tried to compress it because it is WinZip. And that's the nice thing about using WinZip is it does try to compress it a little further. So this is our PDF file, and I'm just going to drag it over here. And if we double click this PDF file here, we can see that the link is hyperlinking and it goes to Google. And there we go. So that works perfectly. That's the first option that you can take to convert your Microsoft Word documents to PDFs if you have basic hyperlinks and you want to save money and you're on a budget. Now, do I recommend this route if you can spend a little bit more money, maybe an extra 20 or 30 bucks? No, I recommend that you go on to the next video and try that, because what I'm about to show you is a software that is as powerful as Adobe Acrobat Pro, which costs about $400 to $500. And instead of spending that amount, you're going to spend a lot less. There are other softwares out there that I have tested that are just as expensive or more, that are about $100 to $200 to $300. This software I've used well over a decade, and it's one of the original softwares out there. And in my opinion, is one of the best. And it'll allow you to create hyperlinks for infographics, for images, and for any spot on the image that you want. So with that said, let's move on to the next video. Welcome back. In this particular video, I'm going to share with you a piece of software that I wish I had all along, because I have downloaded so many PDF conversion softwares out there, and I've tried to do really basic things that you thought were basic, such as infographics and trying to hyperlink specific areas of the image, only to come out empty-handed, until I found this piece of software. So instead of trying to dish out hundreds of dollars on other pieces of software, I recommend this one right here. So I'm going to walk you through step by step the different options that you have. Now, if you go to a site called cutepdf.com, that's CUTE PDF.com, this is where you want to be. Now, as you can see here, the Qt PDF Writer, this is free. And what this allows you to do is allows you to turn your printer essentially into a PDF conversion software. So any type of word processing software, any internet browser, any software that allows you to print a document will allow you to convert that document into a PDF file. So how amazing is that? So that is free. Now, the problem with just this right here is that if you try to convert a document like I showed you earlier that has a hyperlink inside of it, the hyperlink will not pass over to the PDF file. So if you just want to convert files into PDFs, this is all you need. But in this case and in this video course, we want to convert our hyperlinks into PDF files that have working hyperlinks, right? So in order to do that, you do need to have the QPDF Professional version. Now, there are other softwares out here, such as the QPDF Editor, which is free, and the Custom PDF Converter. You don't really need this unless you are going to build a piece of software that you want to have the ability to convert PDFs. So really what it comes down to is to make this process work, you need to go ahead and download this. So click on free download and go ahead and install that. And then you will need the QPDF Professional. Now, as you can see here, typically it is $89.95. So typically it's about $90, but for now it's about $50. So who knows, this could change as you're watching it. But overall, I do believe this is about the cheapest that I've seen for what you can do. Now, as you can see, you can read through here, but I'm not going to read through, but basically you can do everything in part 1. You can do everything as far as password protection, everything that WinZip can do. You can protect it, you can secure it, you can create hyperlinks using a drag and drop tool. So you can highlight a specific section, a specific image, and convert that specific section into a hyperlink. And that is something that you cannot do without utilizing the Adobe Acrobat Pro. All right, so this is actually a big savings, and I wish I had this software long ago. So I highly recommend this. Go ahead, download it, and you can try it first if you want to and make sure it works on your computer. Now, the downside with this is it only works with Windows. It does not work with Mac. If this is the case, you will need to have something like WinZip if WinZip is compatible with Mac, or you will need to download the Adobe Acrobat Pro. But instead of dishing out the $400, $500 up front, you do have an option of getting the Adobe Creative version, which allows you to pay a very small monthly fee to download the software. So you can use that, download it, pay us a very low monthly fee to utilize it when you need to, and you can use it as you wish. So that's just the only downside. Once you have installed the basic version of QPDF, that will be on your system. And anytime you try to print something, I'll press Control Print here, click Change, you'll actually see the QPDF writer here. So anytime you can print something, you can turn that into a PDF file right here. Now, once you have the QPDF Pro version installed, when you press this, it'll automatically convert it to a PDF with working hyperlinks. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to show you an example. So I'm going to go over here to my test folder, and I'm going to show you an infographic that I have turned into a PDF file. So this is a PDF file that I created with PictoChart, which is a infographic creator. And as you can see, I basically created this full-on image, and within the image itself, you can see here it says click for all bonuses. Now, within Microsoft Word, you can't hyperlink an area within an image, right? So in order to do that, you have to have QPDF Professional. Now, to do this, if I click on commenting and I click on link tool, what this will allow me to do is it'll allow me to hyperlink a specific area of the image. Okay, so all you need to do is simply go down here, and I have created this section to turn into a hyperlink. So all I need to do is drag and select this area with my mouse. Once that's done, it basically tells me that I can link them to a World Wide Web link, go to a remote page, open a file, or go to a page. So I'm going to do World Wide Web link, And we're going to do http://www. I'll just do google.com for the sake of simplicity. Click on OK, and we have hyperlinked this right here. I can also hyperlink specific things like specific areas. And you can't really do this with any other tool except for the Pro version of the Adobe Acrobat Pro. So I can do the same thing here. Now I'm going to go back to the viewer. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. I'm going to go ahead and close this down. And let's just go ahead and open this up here. And there we go. So you can see that I've hyperlinked this whole section. Now if I move my mouse over this, you can see the hyperlink has disappeared. So how amazing is that? Now, I did not do it to the second one, so it does not show that here. But if I click on this, if all works, it should go to google.com. And we can see that it does indeed go to google.com and it works perfectly. So there we go. Now, same thing with other PDF documents. You can use the same tool here to do that. And if you convert a document that already has hyperlinks that were created in Microsoft Word, it'll automatically create the hyperlinks for you so you don't have to do anything else. So you can do much more than that within QPDF Professional, but I'm not really going to cover that right now because this is really what we wanted to do, right? So with that said, you are done. You have a piece of software that is powerful if you have a PC. If you have a Mac, unfortunately, you will have to use the Adobe Acrobat Pro, which as long as you use the creative version, you can actually get away with spending less than about $20 a month by just going that route. So with that said, let's move on to the next video, and I'm going to show you step by step what sites you can upload your PDF files to get your backlinks to your PDF files and backlinking to the websites that you're promoting, the affiliate sites you're promoting, your review sites you're promoting, and get a boost in search engine ranking. Congratulations, you have reached the end of this video course, and in this particular video, you should have your PDF in hand, ready to be uploaded and shared with social community sites that are basically document sharing sites. Now, the sites that I'm about to show you are current as of now. But let's say, for example, 5 years down the road, I want to give you a different option and an avenue that you can take so that you can keep up and updated with the times. So first things first, if you head on over to google.com and you type in top document sharing sites, or you can have a different variation such as top PDF sharing site or top document social communities. Or if you type that in and you scroll all the way to the very bottom, Google will also give you different keywords to search for. Now, I wanted to give you this route because sometimes sites come and go, unfortunately, and that's reality. And because of that, you want to make sure that you're constantly uploading your PDF files to sites that are high authority sites that have a lot of traffic, that have, in Google's eyes, enough authority that if you have your links, your PDF files on there, that a link from them is considered high authority. And therefore, it passes on to your website and gives you the votes that you need. So this is another route that you can take. Now, I'm going to show you now specific sites that you can upload your PDF files to and get some backlinks. Now, it really comes to the point that you really don't need to have a huge amount of backlinks. Just a few from very, very high authority sites is important to have. One site is pdfsr.com. pdfsr.com is a PDF sharing social community where you can upload your files and make sure that you publish them and keep them public so that everybody can see them and that Google can index them. So this is one site. Google Docs is another site. Just keep in mind that when you upload your documents to Google, to make sure that the document settings and permissions are set as public. Most people don't think about Google as being a site that you can get links from, but it is. You can use Google properties, Yahoo properties, other properties that are big and authoritative like these sites to get backlinks. Another site is slideshare.net. Another one is Scribd, SCRIBD.com. You'll find that if you search for a lot of PDF files, you will actually run into this specific site. This is actually, if you get your PDF files on this site, it's definitely highly recommended. And of course, we have ISSUU.com, but definitely get it on Scribd.com and the other sites that I've recommended. And if you want to go all out, look for the top document sharing sites for your specific year. So if it is 2017, 2018, or even 2020, do a search for that keyword plus that year, and you'll be able to keep up to date with everything that's happening. Now, in addition to this, what you can do is you can get other people to share that link to your PDF file via other social sharing sites. So essentially, you are putting backlinks towards that particular PDF file, and therefore it gets ranked. And when that gets ranked, so does your links from your PDF file to your website or to your landing page. So essentially, you could get social signals as long as you point them to your PDF file that is uploaded on these high authority sites. One thing that we have always noticed is that Google is okay if you link a bunch of backlinks to a file or to a link that is located on a high authority site. If you put a lot of links towards your site, then obviously it looks really fake. But because these sites have such high authority, they're more likely to have a lot of backlinks linking to them already. It's sort of like the concept of you uploading a video to YouTube and sending a lot of social backlinks to that particular YouTube video. It's okay because that site is such high authority, and in Google's eyes, it's a lot more natural because these sites already get a bunch of backlinks. So that's a second strategy on top of the first strategy that you can implement. So with that said, make sure that you go ahead and implement everything that I have taught you to not only get traffic, but to also get high converting traffic so you can convert your prospects into buyers. So thanks for watching, and please go take action.